Joining us now is Ojinika Ojiope with stories trending around the world. Hello, Jinik.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. How are you this morning?
I'm good.
Perfect. Good morning, Ayomide. Good morning, Rufai. How are you? You sent me one violent story that we're using this morning.
Violence.
Is violence or violence?
Which one is peace.
Well, all right. Good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United States, wildfires fanned by winds of a distant hurricane killed at least 6 people and devastated much of Hawaii's Maui Island on Wednesday, forcing thousands to evacuate as some people fled into the ocean to escape the smoke and flames. Multiple neighborhoods were burned to the ground, including the tourist resort of Lahania.
This was a home. There's their car.
In Italy, 4 survivors of a shipwreck off the country's island of Lampedusa told rescuers on Wednesday that at least 41 migrants lost their lives in the incident. The survivors, who were from Ivory Coast and Guinea, said the boat set off from Sfax in Tunisia and sank on its way to Italy. More than 1,800 people have lost their lives so far this year in the crossing from North Africa to Europe. In the Republic of Niger, the military junta on Wednesday accused France, former colonial power, of trying to destabilize the country. A French aircraft was said to have breached the country's airspace, which the junta had closed. The coup leaders also accused French soldiers of freeing captured jihadists in order to attack military positions. In Ecuador, presidential candidate Fernando Villavicencio, who had been polling 7.5% voting intention, was shot dead on Wednesday at a campaign event in Quito. President Guillermo Lasso vowed in a post on X that the murder will not go unpunished. Videos on social media, purportedly from the campaign event, showed people taking cover and screaming as the gunfire went off.
Another banger, baby, calm down, calm down.
Finally, under entertainment, nominations for the 2023 MTV Video Music Awards were unveiled on Tuesday, along with an introduction of the Best Afrobeats category with Arya Starr, Burna Boy, Davido, Fireboy DML, Ashake, Rema, and Wizkid making the inaugural list. Rema was also nominated for 2 other awards, Best Collaboration and Song of the Year for his hit single, Calm Down, with American singer Selena Gomez. Taylor Swift led with 8 nominations. The MTV VMAs will take place at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey on September 12th.
If I tell you say I love you, no day for me, young girl. Oh, young girl. No, tell me no, no, no.
Well, let's begin what's trending. Senate President Godswill Akpabio set social media abuzz on Wednesday after a video emerged in which he announced that a token had been sent to various accounts of senators by the Clerk of the National Assembly in order to enable them enjoy their holidays. Well, in the video, Akpabio appeared not to be aware that his announcement was transmitted live before withdrawing the statement, describing the supposed disbursement as prayers sent to their mailboxes.
In order to enable all of us to enjoy our holidays, a token has been sent to our various accounts by the Clerk of the National Assembly. I withdraw that statement. In order to allow you to enjoy your holiday, the Senate President has sent prayers to your mailboxes. To assist you to go on a safe journey and return.
Rufai, did you get prayers? I'm just kidding.
I'm still expecting the prayers, so
well, you know,
please, I need prayers in my mailbox.
lawmaker representing the Federal Capital Territory in the Red Chamber. Ireti Kingibe denied receiving any of such prayers when asked during a live television interview on Wednesday. She also admitted that she did not understand Akpabio's announcement and that no extra payments or allowances were sent to her account. Well, let me take some reactions because this has been going around. This is from Mr. Macaroni, who wrote, "These are leaders that have asked struggling Nigerians to make sacrifices if they want things to work in the country. So while Nigerians are going through unbearable hardship, our leaders are sending money to themselves to enjoy holidays. Who are those that should be making sacrifices if not for our leaders? Do our leaders understand that leadership is about service and sacrifice? Why do the poor people of Nigeria have to pay for luxurious lifestyle of the leaders? Why? This isn't leadership." Dr. Bati.
Okay, well, I see that Ajia Ireti Kingibe has taken
Yes.
This Day Live. You know, she used to be on This Day Live as one of the panelists to the National Assembly. And she was saying that she has not received any alert. But in the event that she receives any alert, she will use that alert to address the issue of the development programs that she has in her constituency, the Federal Capital Territory. But basically, what she was trying to do is to criticize this idea of sending alerts. Now, if she says she has not received the alert, maybe the alert is still in the pipeline, or maybe the prayers have not yet reached the celestial, territory where prayers are answered, or maybe the prayers have been diverted to some ghosts. So these are questions that you can look at in that regard. So we go back to the issue about the Senate president. First, he said some tokens have been sent by the clerk of the Senate, only to be cautioned by his own colleagues. And then he said, "Oh, I withdraw that statement." And then he said prayers have been sent. The prayers, of course, euphemism in this particular context. And I like what Senator Shehu Sani has said. He said, well, look, credit alerts are usually sent silently, quietly. But Godswill Akpabio went to the Senate and pressed the alarm. So,
Loud it.
and that is why all of us are alarmed. That, look, is it that these senators actually get extra?
Yes, sir.
Something that is not budgeted for. Where does that extra come from? And Ajia Kingibe was saying, well, since she's been there, because she's new, she has not received any extra. What needs to be investigated is this extra that they get. Is it from the 90 billion that they have asked the government to give to them so that they can use it to renovate the building? Where is that extra coming from? But you see, Senator Akpabio, I think it's a learning process for him. He probably will learn. After that gaffe, he will have been told that you don't announce things like that in public. But we, the people, are better informed.
Yes.
That any time these lawmakers want to go on recess, something enters their accounts. Is it part of the budget? Is it something extra? Where is it coming from? Yeah. At the time when many Nigerians are not getting prayers, when Nigerians are not getting tokens. Some people are collecting tokens. Well, in any case, they are off till September 26th, and we have been informed by a person no less than the uncommon Senate president that our senators are engaged in uncommon practices of sending uncommon alerts to their accounts at a time when Nigerians cannot even afford a Congo of Gari.
Absolutely. Ayo, you know that this is a big story, but I mean, it kind of upset me a little bit because it's like making a mockery in a way. I mean, Ireti Kingibe, I said, she didn't get any prayer, but she's going to check her email for the prayers. But you know, there's all the story going around whether or not these, senators get extra from even just the ministerial nominees. That I know this is social media comments, not my comment. I'm attributing it to. But am I lying?
You're not lying.
Yes,
I mean,
so
we have to represent. We are the voice of the people.
Yeah.
We have to represent what's out there so that we can actually be a voice for people. But I want to just take out a statement she made. Yeah. Yes, she is, because she's a Labour Party member in the House. And so a number of people have actually called out Labour Party senators in the House, saying that they ought to be speaking out beyond the Labour Party, the opposition, really. Because if you're saying that during the campaign you stood up for something, then you should stand against. She says, I don't think it was anything extra that we're supposed to be given. I certainly haven't seen anything extra. So that's where I find a bit of a challenge, because she was defending what the Senate President said and was actually alluding to the fact that he didn't mean what we thought he meant, that it wasn't anything extra. It was probably allowance that was supposed to have been paid. And that's where, for me, there's a challenge there, because we all watched that video. It doesn't sound like it was the normal, because if not, he wouldn't have withdrawn his statement. If it was statutory, he wouldn't have withdrawn his statement. And again, it goes back to that conversation around the fact that the senators, representatives don't seem to be representing the people. They are not feeling our pains, and that is why we don't feel confident in or trust leadership when they say that, oh, just endure and sacrifice. Because if they're all smiling away for recess with a token, and by the way, he used part participle, it meant that it had been done. It has been, not it will be. So prayers ought to have been seen by certain people, except they didn't want to acknowledge it and also defend the fact that, oh, it must have been statutory. We want transparent government, and we need to investigate where that money comes from.
Rufai, unfortunately, you are not getting any prayers in your email, and you know that you will not get any.
No, see, I think since the Archbishop, you know, has forwarded prayers to everybody, and please, this is no offense to religious groups. I'm just trying to make an explanation, please. Since our pastor has forwarded prayers into our emails, I think we should receive it. In the name of Jesus Christ our Lord, amen. But it is sad, Oji. You can see what our country has become. It's a joke. These were the same people Nigerians voted for with a lot of hope and expectation. But what have they done? It's about themselves. Uriwa reacted this morning and said that Mr. Akpabio should be made to explain what he meant by that statement. And I think he should be made to explain what he meant by that statement. And it should be also made to explain what this alert is about. These are the same lawmakers that are collecting 70 billion that we have all complained about. They seem not to understand the pain a lot of people are facing. They seem not to understand the avarice in society. Dollar is about over 900 as we speak today. People can't move on the streets again. They can't buy fuel. And we get our lawmakers getting holiday allowance, while Nigerians don't get alert.
Absolutely.
Why even the 8,000 they first said by the government they were going to give, they didn't end up giving it. But this bunch of people got their own money. You see, in the end, when people go on Twitter and tweet now and said all sorts against them, many years down the line, when those people are going for ministerial screening, they will now say, hey, you called us this, you called us that, you must apologize. But when are they going to apologize to Nigerians for all these things they are doing? Because they are so quick to say, apologize to this, you called us all sorts of names. I just pray God will help all of us. Once again, I'm waiting for the prayer in our bank accounts, please.
Rufai is waiting for prayer as well. All right. We'll take another story. Ahead of the ECOWAS Crisis Summit set to hold today, meeting by the former Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, with coup leaders in the Republic of Niger has generated reactions. Well, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi II, who was the 14th Emir of Kano, is the leader of the Tijaniya sect, which has a large following in Niger. He was accompanied to the meeting by the Sultan of Damagarin in Niger, Abubakar Umaru Sanda. After the meeting, Sanusi headed to Aso Rock to brief President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He told our State House correspondent, Adesua Omorua, that he met with the coup leaders in his own capacity and not as a government emissary.
Yes, I came to brief him on the details of my discussion with the leaders of Niger.
Would you say your intervention was positive, successful?
Interventions are ongoing, and we'll continue to do our best to bring the two parties together to improve understanding. This is a time for public diplomacy. It's not a matter that we leave to governments. All Nigerians, all Nigerians need to be involved to find a solution that works for Africa, a solution that works for Niger, that works for Nigeria, and a solution that works for humanity.
The also reports that you took this initiative by yourself and you're not the government's delegation.
No, I'm not the government. I'm not.
Okay.
I was not sent by the government.
Okay.
The government was government officials were aware I was going, but it was my personal initiative using my personal contacts to get there, and I will continue to do my best. It is my duty as a leader to do that.
This is a huge story that made the front pages of all the newspapers today. It is trending, but obviously people will also take an ethnic undertone to it. You saw that it was not just Sanusi that have gone to Niger. I mean, the military people ignored the Sultan, and also, I believe, some other leaders, northern leaders. But let me take this tweet from Egbo, who wrote, "The North is addressing its own problem, its own way. The northern elites understand what is at stake and are putting in the work not to destabilize the region further. I hope they'll give room for their neighbors down the south if the table is turned." Well, the former emir's visit comes as Niger's military rulers rejected diplomatic missions from the African Union, ECOWAS, as well as the United States, while in an effort to reverse the coup. A former rebel leader and politician, Risha Agbola, on Wednesday launched a movement opposing the military government, a first sign of internal resistance to the military rule. Agbola, in his statement, said that his new Council of Resistance for the Republic supports ECOWAS and any other international actors seeking to restore constitutional order in Niger, and will make itself available for any useful purpose which aims at reinstating the overthrown President Mohamed Bazoum, who has been in detention at his residence since the takeover. Rufai, we had this conversation yesterday where we saw the Italian Prime Minister, admonish, also like berate France for exploiting, I believe, is Burkina Faso because of their resources, and 14 other West African countries. But let me pull up a statement credited to Burkina Faso's coup leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. The statement reads, "If USA and France want uranium, come to Niger and build nuclear power plants. If you want cocoa, come to Africa and build chocolate company. If you want copper, diamonds, tantalum, tin, gold, and silver, come to Africa and build the company. If you want lithium from Zimbabwe, come and build the company." Well, the Post went further to state that Nigeria is one of the largest oil-producing countries and doesn't have one single refinery. We're no longer in 1863 Abraham Lincoln. Actually, I want to come to you, Rufai, because you were trying to make a statement yesterday, and I wanted you to finish that statement in terms of the reason why the coup is festering right now.
Very well said.
Niger.
The reason why we have coups like this is that all of the resources of Africa have not been used for Africa. It's been used for people that exploit Africa, which are these colonialists. And that, like he has said, if you want to develop, if you want our resource, come to Africa and we'll make it better. Truth has to be said. The narrative, this narrative has always been on.
Yes.
Today, I pay tribute to Thomas Isodowe Noel Sankara. This was what Sankara stood for. But also, I said before that we are our own problems. Because when you now have the right leadership that wants to do right, it is still people amongst us that these Western nations use. Because when Sankara started pushing for the resource of the land of the upright man, Burkina Faso, he changed the name of the country to be Burkina Faso, land of the upright man. When he was pushing for the resource to be used, it was still a fellow Burkinabe called Blaise Compaoré that they used to kill that man. And that man had nothing. He had nothing except a little guitar holding this banjo he had. But he fought for his country. Yeah. And Africans, we should stop killing our good leaders. Let's stop killing our best brain. If we come together and we have something the French will call solidarité, then we can build this African continent. But you see, we have so many thieves amongst us because of what they want to eat from the West and little promises of the future. In the first place, When the colonizers came to colonize us, wasn't it our African chiefs that they gave gunpowder and some other things to be able to sell us into slavery? Let us look inward. Yeah. The problem of Africa, yes, one is that of colonialists, but it's also our fellow Africans. Right. We don't come together, we don't love ourselves. And if we don't do that, Africa will not survive.
Right. Well, you know, I would have loved to take our final story, but it's a very detailed story about a 17-year-old boy who was killed in Adamawa State over a cell phone. But, you know, we'll take that story tomorrow so we can highlight that type of menace happening in our security system. But over to you, Ayo. I mean, if you would like to, you know, really touch on that last statement I made, and also the resistance right now, the new, you know, rebel group that is forming in Niger. If you could really touch on that really quickly so we can end the show.
We've had quite a conversation around this, and a few experts and guests have spoken to this with regards to what's going in Niger. Later on today, we'll have the ECOWAS heads of state and government come together to have conversations. And what has been said, I quoted Mr. Femi Falana earlier, is that on that agenda today should also be how the government can look inward and how we can work to build. No one will save Africa from the outside. We have to do it from the inside. So I hope that's part of the conversation.
Dr. Bati, 1 minute to go.
Well, Agboola is the name of the man that is leading the coalition for resistance for the Republic, the CRR, as it is otherwise known. So they are resisting in the name of the Republic. And again, he has his support. He's very close to the Tuaregs in the north, as I pointed out earlier on, who control commerce and politics in that part of the country. So you have the Hausas, you know, which General Chiani and his supporters belong to, the group they belong to. You have at the center of it, Bazoum, who is a minority Arab, who became president and who has now, well, seemingly been deposed. And then you have, you know, this likely coalition from the north involving the Tuaregs, who are sympathetic to Bazoum. The fear here is that Niger could become a major theater of war, another Libya on our hands.
Unfortunately.
The situation probably made worse also by the complexity of factors. All these players that I've pointed out, and then you still have the Islamic jihadists, and then the fact that the whole of the Sahel region,
big problem,
from Mali to Burkina Faso all the way to Libya, could further implode.
Absolutely.
It will be a major problem for the West African region. It will be a major crisis in terms of humanitarian issues for the international community. So the responsibility of leadership is one. Leadership, which can solve so many things.
Yes.
Number two, the responsibility to protect all the ordinary people, innocent people who may suffer as a result of this. And number three is to continue to pursue the objective of peace.
Right.
Pacific resolution of disputes being one of the major pillars of the UN Charter, to which all these countries are signatories.
Yeah, pursue peace. That's really what we need. Agboola and this whole rebel system, we hope that it would not implode like you have said. I'd like to thank you all for your great analysis on what's trending. Well, that's all I have for you on what's trending today. I'll see you tomorrow.